Well, hello, Up With People Facebook world. This is Donna Reed, and I'm coming to you this morning from the Cactus Lounge in Tucson, Arizona. And by the way, last time I said Cactus Corner, so I don't even know where I was. But anyway, I am here this morning with Tom Husson. And Tom and I met, and I'm using air quotes for those of you that are watching this online because of a request that he put in the alumni Facebook page about Tucson. And so, Tom, why don't you introduce yourself to the group here and tell everybody who you are, when you traveled, where you lived, Up With People stuff.
Cool. So hi, my name is Tom. I currently live in Brussels. I traveled with A15 and then a little bit into A16 as an admissions rep. Super fun. Met a lot of really cool people. What else? What else can I say?
So Tom, when you traveled, I think in 13, they had started the 6 month at a time. So did you start in January of 15? Did you start in the summer? When did you start?
Yeah, January is when I started. Yep. Exactly.
Okay. So, but you did the whole year. You did 2 semesters. Yep.
Well, so okay. Yeah, so 1 semester as participant and then 1 semester as staff.
Okay. Okay. And did you see a show in Belgium, or how did you learn about Up With People?
Oh yeah. So I guess my journey like into Up With People. So when I was, I think 18, I just finished high school and I was like, okay, well, I haven't seen, done, or proven anything. I'm not about to make like one of the biggest decisions in my life and decide what I want to do with the rest of my life. So over the summer, I decided that I wanted to go travel. And I wanted to have an impact while doing it because, you know, I'm lucky to kind of like grow up in a part of the world where you grow up pretty privileged. You have, you know, all the chances in the world. So I'm like, okay, let me try to, I want to go travel and give back in a way, like, and kind of at the same time also, you know, discover myself, see who I am, all that good stuff, I guess. And so when I told my parents I wanted to go travel, they both kind of laughed. They were like, haha, who's going to pay for that? It's not going to be us. And so I was like, okay, you know what? It's fine. I'll figure something out. I started looking into volunteering kind of missions in first in Africa. And I saw it was like about 3K for like 2 weeks. And I started calculating. I was like, okay, if I want to go for 6 months, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. I don't have that kind of, anyway. I just started working in a restaurant like crazy. I was like, okay, let me just try to save up. And while I was doing that, I kept searching, and then I met this alumni that talked about Up With People, and she heard, I was talking to everybody about it. Like, I want to, this is my big dream. Like, I want to go travel. I want to give back. I'm looking for something to do. And then she introduced me to Up With People. She's like, okay, well, actually, like in 2 or 3 weeks, there was a show in Antwerp. Okay. And actually, it sounded amazing to me. Like, cause you have the community work, you have, the shows. I make music as well. So I was like, let me see what it is. Then I saw it, and then it was sold, and worked even harder to get the money together, and ended up leaving in January of 2015. Then.
So it's interesting for me to listen to a younger person talk about wanting to give back and actually know that about themselves when they're in high school. Because I have to say, and I've probably said this on another one of these interviews, I was in the middle of interviewing for Navy ROTC scholarships, and I saw Up With People, never talked about the Navy again, and spent my senior year of high school saving money. But I have to say, I wasn't looking at it from the what can I give back perspective. I don't know. I don't know particularly in retrospect why, and maybe it's because it was the bicentennial year and they were doing a gazillion shows and there wasn't as much of the community service piece. Whereas when you traveled, I know that really was emphasized, and you were in a town for like a week, and, you had way more of that. But I really admire and respect the fact that that was already on your mind, when you were a young parent. Did your mom... Did you see that example in your parents or family?
For sure. My mom, she ran she's ran NGOs for like quite a while. Okay. And so like from when we were young, we would go like you know, help out at like the St. Nicholas party for like, you know, the NGOs that she was working on and all that. So I think definitely that was in there. But I think also, I mean, I don't want to sound like a saint, like it was also very much for myself. Like I think I mean, doing community work sounded in a way a lot more rewarding than just going and waiting tables while I was traveling, you know.
Got it.
So I think there's like a meaning aspect of it. Like the traveling was also very much to kind of like discover myself, and I think like doing that in a way where you can help others also helps yourself. So there was like both aspects for sure. Like the giving back, understanding that I'm you know, that I grew up in a place of privilege when you look at it from a global perspective. But then also very much like I think it's kind of like putting your own mask on first, like, you know, being able to
save yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think like that just made a lot of sense to me.
So, all right. So when you traveled, did you have a music background at all? Was the show important to you? How did you come to the stage?
Yeah, totally. No, for 100%. So I've been like playing the piano since I can remember.
Okay.
My grandpa is an amazing piano player. And I was producing music back then as well. So I've been like producing music since I'm like 12, just kind of like, you know, producing beats and all that stuff. And so I was part of the band and really freaking enjoyed that. Like that was so much fun. Like big world tour vibes. I think like my favorite show was in Anaheim in LA, like where we had like I think 4,000. I mean, probably like it was probably a lot less than when you guys travel. I think like the shows were a much bigger part of the thing, but even then, like it was crazy. I remember it's crazy. I remember literally like 4,000 screaming. I think it was Kiwani. Like there was a Kiwani's youth convention in Anaheim.
Okay.
And I played the piano and I had to open the show. So I need to like go on first and start playing. And so I remember like, you know, 4,000 like screaming children. All right, or like you. And I remember like going on, and I was almost like throwing up. Like that's how nervous I was. I was like, oh my God, like what if I like really mess up now? And then from the first like notes that we started playing, like they all went like wild. It was super fun. It was super crazy.
So what was the name of the show that you were in?
Journey On, I think.
And did it start with just the piano, or was the band walking on in the dark and you all started together?
Yeah, we all started. I think it was just a piano in the very beginning, and then like all like
the
all
rest of the band
kicked in. Yeah.
So last week or 2 weeks ago, I have no idea concept of time these days, but I interviewed for the members of the band Arizona. Did you ever, do you know who they are or their influence in Up With People?
I think I'm thinking of a different Arizona band.
Okay. Yes, you're right. So if you get a chance, Tom, watch the interview that I did with four of the members of the band, because this was in the 70s when, and they ended up writing a lot of the songs for Up With People. Okay. But one of the things that they said was they performed live here and opened for Fleetwood Mac back in 1977 at the University down here in Arizona. And that felt that same for them, even though they had performed for large audiences in Up With People around the world. You know, it was kind of that emotional burst that you get from doing that. So that's cool. All right. So you travel when you did PR, when you came back to do admissions, when you came back to do admissions, was Up With People sending you to specific places to do recruiting, or was it kind of random?
No, I was traveling with the cast. Okay. And so how it worked was there was basically 3 of us, and then each week like everybody got assigned a week, and that week, so like you kind of like communicate with the PR team to kind of see what kind of admissions opportunities there would be there, like what universities we should have booths at, what are events happening during that week that we could be at and kind of recruit. I remember like we we absolutely smashed the records. We were a freaking dream team. It was really, really fun. We had, I think, 154. I mean, for back then, right? Like, because I know, like, I think we had 154 interviews in 4 days in Toluca. So
that's a lot.
Yeah, that was a lot. But that was super fun.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, okay. So is there a song from your show that emotionally you really like? Not necessarily the one you like to play on the piano the best, but was there a song from your show that sticks with you that?
Oof. I don't know their titles. Like there's.
Okay, tell me words. Do you know words?
Even worse.
Often the musicians don't know the words.
No, I wasn't. No, I just remember the moment. Like, I think it was, there was a. I see the moment in front of my, like, it was a soft song. It was a softer song, but I think, like, another really one that I really like, I think, is "Does It Really Matter?" or.
Yeah.
Like,
it was really like, matter? Does it matter at all? Yep.
Yeah. I mean, the
was
guy
Journey On, was that the last song in your show?
I think it was. Yes, for sure. Yeah.
That was a great, and honestly, we've had some wonderful ending songs. I mean, we just have, there's, and they tend to be memorable, and they tend to be the ones that stick with us through the years and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Memorable for me is a swing clap. Like, never ever.
Everybody is a swing clap. I did karaoke with my son when he was home, and we were at a bar, and some song came on, and we both felt like we should do swing claps.
Oh my God.
And then his girlfriend, who is not an alumni, is like, oh, here we go, So anyway, funny. So tell me about your relationships with your cast, because when you guys traveled, from what I understand, you already had Facebook groups, you were in touch beforehand. Do you stay in touch with the people that you traveled with?
Not as much as, I mean, there's a couple of people, but I think not as much as I imagined I would. I feel like the previous generations are a lot more. Like, I feel like a lot of the alumni in Belgium are like the more previous generations. I don't think, like, there's a lot of, but there's a couple of people that are just like, that just became really, really good friends that you obviously, like, still talk to from time to time.
Yeah. I think that's true. What I believe happens over the years is, you have these close friends when you first travel, and then time goes by and you randomly connect with someone, and you find out that in this place in life you have this in common, or something like that, and some of them become good friends. But my friend that I stayed with when I was in Brussels, I think I was telling you I was there in the summer, we saw an alumni each of the 3 days that I was there from the 70s, and and people, one who I hadn't seen for 30 years, 35 years, 40 years, I don't know how many years, and I don't know that they all see each other all the time, but they do we still have a bond. So, all right, I want to move to the present, because your post that you put on the alumni page about your current, I'm going to say, job and goal. Tell everybody what you're doing now, because honestly, Tom, I want you to meet the new CEO. She wants to talk to younger people. She's very global minded. And I think that your project is something, I'm going to see her this Sunday. I'm going to mention your name, just so you know. So tell everyone what you're doing now.
Where to start? So there's a couple of things that I'm doing. So I've built businesses. So I think I just kind of closed my previous business. I mean, it's still going, but kind of left it behind me. It was a digital innovation consultancy. It was focused on basically helping people achieve more of what matters to them through, like, AI and things like that. But basically all of it is kind of tied together in a life goal that I have around, like, wanting to become somebody with the skill, heart, and mindset to impact 1 billion people's lives positively.
Say that again and say it slower, because you speak quickly. The impact.
Okay. All right. So yeah, I basically have this life goal of wanting to become somebody with the skill, heart, and mindset to impact 1 billion people's lives positively. And that's kind of been a driving idea in everything I do for the last like 6 to 7 years.
And you're so old.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's driven me to study computer science because I believe that technology has the potential to completely change the world profoundly. It's driven me to launch my previous business. It's driven me to launch the podcast that I'm doing about that topic, specifically around like, okay, what does it take to impact 1 billion people's lives positively? Because like it's a big question, and there's a lot of different ways of trying to address it, and there's a lot of different aspects to it as well. Because like, what is impact? Like,
Right.
and is it always good impact? And you know, who am I to decide what 1 billion people should experience or not experience? So there's so many aspects that come with this idea, but I think like the core idea is really around like, okay, how do we upgrade society, right? Like what are things that we can all agree on, or what are things that, you know, sure, there's always good and bad sides, but like, you know, I think like electricity, or like, you know, the certain technology, certain things have made our lives a lot better, and have, and is also question is like, is better the thing that you want to go or less atrocities? Like, do you want less hunger or more wealth? Like, you know, like, so it's kind of like
You know what, Tom? So
there's
I just in a class that I do, one of the questions that always comes up: do we run from pain or do we run towards pleasure? And what you just said is that same kind of a thing. Are we? And I think of that often when someone goes somewhere and they think they are making the life better for someone, when in fact those people are fine, except for not clean water, whatever. You know what I mean? We don't have to change a whole world. So that's an interesting thought. Yeah. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
No, totally. No, exactly. But these are exactly like the types of, like, it's a very, I mean, again, like I said, like the whole reason I went traveling as well is because I was looking for those life questions in a way. Like, okay, how do you give, you know, purpose to your life? What is meaningful to do? And for some reason, there's some inexplicable kind of like fire in my belly. I don't know where it comes from, but this is something that every morning I wake up and there's a jolt of energy that just like rushes through my entire body, and like that's something that is always there, and that like pushes me to like have courage when you need to have that extra courage, or, you know, push that extra hour when you need to push that extra hour. Like, I don't know why that is, but I think like those are the things that if you can find those things, I think very often, if you look back, like the people that have been able to make meaningful change in a way on a grand scale, like they've always kind of like been led by those types of intuitions, I think. So I'm just trying to learn as much as I can about that, and how to kind of use them. And I think like that's what I like about it with people as well, is like, I think there's most of the people that do that are often driven by something like that. I don't know how it was for you, like what, because you said that the way that you joined up with people, like, you know, you were applying for something else, but then all of a sudden you're like, okay, it clicks. Like,
Yeah.
What's that click for?
And I don't know that you can always put that in words. It's a little like talking to a therapist. You know, something happened, you know, you make a decision, you know that somewhere there's a reason that you choose something, and you can't always put it into words, you know, what it is. And so what drives a person to take this road instead of that road, right? To choose that. So I with you, it's an interesting place for me, because at your age, I was married, living, had 2 or 3 kids, you know, whatever. And all I could think about was raising them. That was it. Like, I don't have recollections of specific details in my life. I know I did things. I know I volunteered some, but it hasn't been until I've been in my 50s that I have, now 60s, really questioned, what can I do? How do I affect, not necessarily change, but is there a way that I can improve? And if that means one person on one corner that I give a meal to, you know, it's not building a school in another country. However, it is one person. And that's an old song from a show too. And that's one of the songs I love. It's I'm just one person, you know, what can I do? And so
Yeah, and I struggle with this question a lot. Like I'm like sharing something super personal in the ways that like, so basically so I became a dad to a wonderful daughter in Tucson, actually. I was 19 at the time. Mom is from Tucson.
I'm looking
anyway,
forward
like,
to
at
meeting
that
your
moment, it was,
looking forward to meeting your daughter. So
yeah, she's absolutely amazing. I love her. She's I mean, yeah, she's amazing. But like that back then as well, like, you know, I had that deep drive inside of me when I was 19, or it was like I want to have this massive impact. And so basically, like, the question came up, like, are you gonna you know, stay in Belgium, or are you gonna be there for your daughter, like, you know, basically, like, you know, help her grow up and be present. And it was something that completely, like, still now sometimes it's something that really completely tears me apart, because there's, you know, I grew up with divorced parents. Like, I promised that I would never put my kids through a situation where they would have like separated parents, and then from day one she's born in a situation like that. And so just that to say that power, like that fire was so kind of strong in me. I think there's also definitely like fear that was involved from my side. Like, you know, I definitely wasn't ready to be a full-time dad at 19. But just that to say that, you know, there as well, like, you know, you could have massive impact raising in a, like, I see that now with you know, Scarlett's mom. Like, she's raising Scarlett to be like an absolutely amazing little girl. And like, you know, the impact that you have there as well is basically like raising a human to be an amazing human in the world. Like,
yeah,
massive impact as well. So it's like, it's not one or the other. It's like, and I think like I have a it's an interesting perspective, because I have like I see both pretty clearly, right? And like black and white, I chose one direction pretty clearly. I mean, I think I try to be present. I try to be there as much as possible. Like, I have intentions of moving to the US and being a lot more present.
yeah.
But yeah, there's it's a constant tension, and
Yeah.
these are choices that you can only make for yourself, I think, because
Yeah.
you know, everybody has opinions, and everybody's completely entitled to their opinions. But in the end, like, we all live our lives, and it's whatever works for us, I guess.
Yeah. That's true. That's the whole, you can never put yourself in somebody else's shoes. You don't know what their journey really is. So tell me, these are some questions that I try to ask everyone. Was there any food that you ate when you traveled on the road that you'll never eat again, or anything that you tried for the first time that you thought, oh my gosh, this is the best thing ever? Like you're racking
Tacos al
your-
pastor. No, tacos
What?
al pastor. Tacos al pastor.
And you love them?
I love them. I crave them sometimes. Like, any place on a random corner with like some random kind of like TV playing whatever, like the football match they were looking at, and then like some tacos. Oh yeah, that's some good stuff.
Well, you can have some of those when you're here, so that's awesome. That's great.
Nice.
That's
Very
great.
nice.
And is there any place that you haven't traveled that you have a real deep desire to go to?
Haven't traveled? Have not, or have?
That you have not?
I have not. Yeah, so many places. Like, I feel like one of the things with people is that it completely like opens up your world. Like, because it's one thing to travel to like a resort and like have a touristy experience, and then it's a completely different thing. Like for example, in Mexico, like some of these, like a family that we stayed at, like they barely had anything, and then they hosted like 4 people, and we just slept in a bunch of hammocks and all together, and like I had the freaking best week in my life. And I think like those experiences are things where you don't only open up to new places, but completely like new faces and new ways of living. And so I feel like that makes you so much more curious to what else is out there.
Yeah. So several people through the years, a lot of alumni say that when the places become faces,
Yeah.
because your experience there didn't have anything to do with whatever town you were in Mexico. It had to do with the family and the
No,
people and the place. Yeah. Yeah.
exactly.
I agree.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. So you are coming this way in
Yeah.
January. And we've alluded to this. I'm going to host Tom. I have 3 sons and always have a guest room. And so super excited to meet you in person. And maybe we'll do something. We'll introduce you to some of the other Tucson alumni. I think that would be fun also. If you were to talk to, Up With People is restarting. They are working on how it looks. And I'm super excited this week to see what progress has been made because we're having a gathering here of Tucson alumni. So you are, how old are you, Tom? Remind me,
26.
26. Okay.
6.
So you are one of the younger alumni that I've spoken to. I've spoken to a whole lot that are in my age bracket and older. So if you were to be here and you would meet somebody down at the University of Arizona who is looking to make an impact, and that Up With People is starting again, what might you say to that younger than you person or person that's between 18 and 24?
What do you want my admissions? I was in admissions. So
Yeah,
literally like
give
what
me
I used to do all
your
the time.
admission speech. But now you got 6 years behind you, so
Well, I think the same things are still very much true. I think the fact that you travel with 100 like-minded people from over 20 different countries, that in of itself is already a crazy experience. And the fact that you have all the host families, you'll definitely be like thrown outside of your comfort. I think it has everything to really be a profound experience for you to explore not the world but also like yourself. I think what's great, like I traveled by myself as well after Up With People, and so it's that I think is also like a completely different experience. But like,
oh yeah,
the fact that you get to share those experiences with a lot of people, and again, that there's and the idea around impact, around really like activating communities, about understanding, about like not coming in as these white saviors that are gonna save everything and fix everything, but that are really there to like get to know the community. You're staying at people's houses, like you will have to adapt to whatever they decide you will do, which I think is such like you gain so much empathy. And I think like in the world
we need empathy.
No, 100%.
Absolutely.
Because like there's a reason that you won't be sleeping on the nice bed that night, because these people are like or like in a hammock. And if you were at a friend's house and they would give you a hammock, whatever, you'd be like, that's kind of weird. Like, don't you have like but while if it's something like the only thing that they have, then it feels like this massive gift that they're giving you, which is like context and like understanding how things are different. That was
Okay. All right. So we're gonna wrap this up. I thank you for your time. And for those of you that don't know, Tom and I started this already a week or 2 ago, and then I had an emergency phone call and I just had to hang up on him. So thank you for agreeing to come back and do this again. I think it'll be super good for you to maybe meet a couple of the younger Tucson alumni when you're here, that you maybe don't know. And we'll get you some tacos and, a few of the older alumni too, because we have stories,
I don't doubt it. I'm super excited to hear him, and I'm very, very, very excited, incredibly grateful that you're willing to host me. And I think we're gonna have a lot of fun.
Yeah, I do too. All righty, I'm gonna wrap it up and quit the recording and hang on just one more minute. All right, thanks.